This is Critical Nonsense, our high-lowbrow show about culture, science, and tech. This week, I asked Joey about how we've convinced ourselves we like the beach.
Woo! Because I'm a Joey. This is what a Joey sounds like. And this is what an executive producer and creep, Jess Vander, sounds like.
Rude. Hi, this is Jess.
First of all.
And also second of all.
Jess, you said you have housekeeping today?
I do. Remember last time when we were talking about rules that should be broken?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, and again, maybe it's just one of those things of it comes up once and then it's coming up everywhere, but I found multiple instances, one in an email newsletter and another on my Instagram feed, of people being like, everyone says that you shouldn't turn on the big light in a room, but actually I think we should. And I was like, that is the most specific rule to break, of like, say yes to the big light. And specifically using that language too, of like, why are people so anti turning on the big light? And I was like, I know what you're saying, but this is so this is so strange. Is this taking over the internet? I don't know. But all of this to say, seems like a really hot take. I feel like overhead lighting is notoriously unflattering, but some people are like, but what if challenging this notion?
Did I tell you that at my 20-year high school reunion, a woman walked in and the first thing that she said was, "Oh my God, this light is so severe. Can we ask them to turn it down? This is not flattering." And I was like, what? And I was like, good to see you.
Yeah.
Like what? And so I went and asked them to turn it down. And then she thought it was still too severe and went and asked them to turn it down lower. And I was like, I don't move through the world in this way.
Right.
We are different.
Yeah, she's just concerned about how she's going to look to her peers of yore.
Yeah. What was the second rule that you encountered?
No, it was two instances of this same commentary.
The same big light.
Yes. I was like, why is this the thing?
Yeah.
And also it's just, it seems like there's a current of people being like, okay, we've turned down the lights so low.
Yeah.
I can't see anything.
It's too dim.
It's simply too dim and we need to turn it on.
I also sent you one later that you did not get at first as related to this conversation, but it was in the sorority. We learned that when someone comes to join your conversation, you say, "Oh, we were just talking about this to include them. I've hung out with various crowds this past weekend, and I can say not everyone has this habito," which I was like, another good rule.
And also, sometimes you don't even need to give the preamble. You just need to do that thing in theater, like the Shakespeare to the, like off, what do they say? The Shakespearean aside, where you turn and then it's like the implied. So I know that person because we met through college and blah blah blah, and it's like you turn to them conversationally, to fill in all of those gaps. Sometimes we have to do that on the show too, of me being like, "But what, Joey?"
Yeah. But or you just, as they're coming up, you're like, "What's your opinion about indoor lighting and the big light?" And
right.
They immediately are inserted because you've given them the set.
Right. You gave them an opening or a doorknob, as people have been talking about. More doorknobs. Wow. Anyway.
Wow. Good housekeeping.
Really good.
Jess, you had a topic about romance
and beach.
Romance.
'Tis the season of beach. A time that people often romanticize of like, wow, it's summer. It's
summer loving.
Yeah, just just name. Think of all the playlists, really, and smiling volleyball players with beach balls aplenty. Okay, but I'm gonna be the first to say I do genuinely love going to the beach, but I know of many people who hate it. But it's something really interesting that there are things like going to the beach that have become so ingrained in our memories or our ideals that the beach is a wonderful, relaxing, great place to be, even if it is contradictory in our experience. it's actually so hot.
Yeah.
You never have enough water. The sand is everywhere. Even if you think you're being really like, you've thought ahead of everything, like it found its way somehow into that crevice.
Yeah.
You have to haul a ton of stuff. And like, even if you have like the most vehicles and wagons, like it's still so much to bring everything with you to what is otherwise like a totally open plain. When you get there, it's crowded. You got people who are like playing loud music right next to you, which is related to the
other rules last
One
week.
of the rules. There's just like so many things that could possibly be aggravating. Oh, never a close bathroom. How about that?
No.
And
there is an ocean.
Whoa. But anyway, I guess it brought to me this question of how is it then that we've convinced ourselves sometimes that we like things that we don't really like?
I think this is super interesting because I am neither love nor hate beach.
Okay.
I am like
agnostic beach,
I'm
neutral
like
beach.
Once or twice a year, great. Or like if you're on a vacation going somewhere where like many of these like schlep issues are resolved because they're like, we have seats set up by the beach and there's like a hut that you can go get water or whatever. Like those situations, I'm like, okay, like I can do this. I don't have to carry 10,000 things and like get to the beach, whatever. Like that's great. But I don't have that like romantic idea of the beach where people are like, I'm going to go every weekend to the beach. And I'm like, it's so sandy.
Yeah.
Like there's so much sand. Are we just ignoring the fact that there's so much sand?
Right? It's like, it's all, you know what else I'm realizing? Another really classic example that I've had many conversations with people about is camping or like backpacking trips. It's like more of that type 2 fun of like, it's not fun while we're doing it, but somehow it's fun after.
Yeah.
Like, but I'm like, are you sure are you sure that it's fun?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. There are like trips I've gone on with my friends in this like annual, like outdoorsy type of trip thing. And it changes hands planning. When someone picks like an overnight hiking, camping trip, I'm like, it's so much carrying. You have to carry everything for 3 days. What? Like, I can handle it, but like, we're saying this is the fun part is just carrying stuff for 3 days.
Right.
Like,
and I think what's interesting to me is that like it's, and this is the relation to the romance side is like, despite all evidence to the contrary, we still want to believe in the romantic ideal of these things compared to say, going to the polls. Nobody's got a romantic ideal of going to the polls, even though
some people do.
Okay, maybe some.
Few.
Okay,
Yeah.
but like but objectively, like, what if you come across a lovely student-run bake sale? Like, how lovely of an experience, or like the validation when they give you a sticker and like maybe the lines aren't that long because whatever, or I don't know. But like the mental, it's like what's the opposite of romance, like the dreaded ideal or you know, the expectation is something of like, this isn't something I could possibly enjoy for some people.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is there. Like, what are some of the other examples of this that sort of get romanticized in your head based on any number of things? And then like road trips are like a great example. Super romanticized. Like you can have maybe like cool bonding moments, whatever, but like you're in a liminal space
right
for extended periods. So like my parents are talking about going on like a Winnebago type of road trip when they retire with their friends. They're planning for it. They're going to like rent a like mobile RV type of situation and go on a trip for, I don't know, months, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a lot of driving. Like,
right.
Like what? Why do that? Why not figure out a different way to do this situation? I don't know. Like I'm sort of like, I'm not compelled by that thing. Or like going on vacations to cities is like for me one of these things where people are like, I want to go on like vacation to Berlin. And I'm like, it's just another city. Like, why? Or like, I have to get to Tokyo. I'm like, good food, cool. Like, but then it's like, it's just another crowded city. I live in New York. Like, why am I?
And maybe that's the thing that's funny to me is more that it's not that it's surprising that someone would be interested in that because that's based on your interest. It's that there can be universally agreed upon, like, oh, wow. Like that's a great thing to do when it is not universally appealing on its face, or it at least I don't know that it would be. An example of something that has a romantic ideal and delivers, I would argue, is going to the movies. Like, especially because movie theaters have upped their game because they recognize that if they didn't, they would be put out of business because homes are nice.
Yeah.
But there's a reason to like go to the movie because you can get the mega popcorn and the seats are comfy. And now they like scurry around, like feeding you.
You can get
like
dinner
full, like,
and
nice
a couple
meals.
drinks.
Exactly. And like the spaces, maybe there's like a bar next door that you can, or like downstairs that you can go linger at and talk about the movie with your friends. Like that romantic ideal, I get it. I buy it. It's like actually appealing objectively, maybe.
Yeah.
To some, most, I would say. Versus, yeah, it's just like, ooh, when talking to these people about the allure of backpacking, because I kept listing all of these undesirables about it, they were like, yeah, but sometimes it's like it's the effort and it's the fear.
Yeah.
That's actually the allure of like, what if I don't have what I need? And I was like, is that is that so universal of like, I'm on this beach and there's nowhere to pee and I'm one with the world.
Yeah. I mean, I do. It's interesting because I agree with like the premise of like sometimes doing hard things, like the point is just that they're hard.
Right.
And like, I sort of generally agree with that premise of like, you know, sometimes I do stupid workouts that like, while you're doing it, you're like, this sucks. And then at the end, you're like, oh, I'm proud of myself. You get like a hormonal boost. Like there is something after. Like with the beach as an example, it's like, I'm so pale. The likelihood that I am going to like
gotta get burned.
leave this beach with a sunburn somewhere that I like missed a spot on like third reapplication of sunscreen. And now like the back of my knee in that like tender spot in your knee pit is burnt. Like I have one right now from like going fishing with my friends. I'm like, I swear I got that spot. It's like, no, you didn't. You have skin so red it looks purple in the back of my knee.
How could this is like clearly one of the absolute worst parts of beach.
But like the beach is also like not like a hard thing. It's like a inconvenient thing typically to get to a beach. Like I can understand like in places where people live near the beach where they're just like, I go down to the beach for 15 minutes, I hop in the water, I come back out and I go about my day or whatever. Like that I understand is like appealing, or like go on a walk on the beach if you live nearby where you don't have to carry 7 chairs, a cooler, like all of these things. But it is also like a little bit of the like prison of our comforts that people bring to the beach, which sort of evolves it. Like we're going to set up an encampment
right now. It's
on
metastasized.
The beach. Yeah.
It has become something that we can't recognize. Yeah. I mean, my only hunch is that part of the romance is because it is immersive. It is like a transportative, immersive experience that is different unless you live in these places. Like if you live in the woods, it doesn't feel like that. It's just how you live. But presuming that these are things you do not all the time, but you do by choice occasionally, it feels like a thing you're opting into. And the power of that, even if it is hard or uncomfortable or whatever, that I mean, right? Like that just has to be it, because the nature of that experience isn't consistently and objectively positive.
Yeah.
But whatever that thing it's transporting you into, that alone might be the desirable. Like the fact that on the road trip you are forced into a state of boredom, probably. Like it's so long, and so that you end up having
restorative power of boredom,
right? And you have like this long conversation with your friends in the car, or whoever's riding shotgun to keep you company, and like that is just so rare compared to maybe every day you don't get to have that like excuse to do those things.
Yeah.
Like, it's there that it has to be that it unlocks some different. That it's different rather than good.
Yeah. I mean, I think there is I don't know whether we ever spoke about this, but at some point years ago, I had read this study that was both like looking at some like restorative aspects of nature and through some like cultural concepts. Like in Japan, I believe there's a concept where the translation is like nature bathing, like where you are like going into a forest and just sort of like soaking in nature and what that can do for you sort of emotionally, mentally, like staving off sort of bad parts of like mental health. And I thinking about the beach, right? Like if you go to the beach, you can understand how like a lot of what people talk about, right? It is like sort of staring at a campfire, right? Like you sit facing the water and you just like stare out at the water and you hear birds and you hear the wind and you hear the waves, and it is like theoretically like this like semi-meditative experience.
Yes.
But when you bring like your entire home out, it's like we got a chair, we got a table, we got some cards, we got a speaker system going, we have an umbrella, we have drinks, food, everything. We're like all of a sudden, like you lose that other part. Like it's nice to go swimming and whatever, but like you're just setting up a barbecue out on the beach. Like, do you still get that like nature bathing sort of restorative, positive experience? Like, and is that the purpose and point? I don't know. Clearly, like you're saying you love the beach. Like,
well, and that's, I think, because I mean, this is a great point of like, if you can, that is maybe so powerful that it overrides and it sort of solidifies the romantic ideal of the beach despite all of these obvious drawbacks. And so everything else, this encumbering ourselves, is all to minimize the other stuff because we know we know that it's going to be like, we're going to be otherwise uncomfortable, but it's worth it in service of having this like nature bathing, maybe literal dip in the water experience. So you bring an umbrella or a sunshade, you bring a chair, like you bring the things to minimize those things. And somehow that is both making it even harder, but we decide what trade-offs that we're accepting in service of doing the thing.
Yeah. I mean, it is like a little bit of the dynamic where we tend to like follow these things, right? Like people going to like Instagram traps and trying new things because they see like we fall into that trap of like romantic, like why were we drinking this thing in like 2004?
Yes.
Like it was gross, like
right.
But everyone was drinking it, and so we had romanticized.
Why did we put everything in gelatin?
Yeah. We were drinking just beads of microplastic in that Orbitz drink that existed in like the 90s, but seemed like a good idea at the time, I guess. All right, Jess, I guess, does this bring us to the wrap up? Beach corner, Beach Boys, pet sounds.
Yeah.
God only knows.
I mean, the truth is that we must actually like all these things that we don't actually like. That more important is some underlying universal truth, whether it is how different something is. Maybe it's the virtue of difficulty. Maybe it's just to force ourselves to be in nature and soak in something that shifts us out of the modes that we are in our everyday. That is actually the thing that we ultimately like, and why we've developed these shared ideals of how awesome it is to go to the beach, to road trip, to go camp. But in the process of trying to avert some of those difficulties and frictions, we sometimes add new ones. And maybe the point is that we kind of love complaining about that and doing it all together. Maybe we all get it and we all are willing to.
The point of the beach is to get sand in your butt crack. So then you can talk to your friends about how
there's sand everywhere. And you're like, God, can't believe that happened.
Nailed it.
My God.
Critical Nonsense is a Sylvain production.
Brought to you by Barbie's recruitment platform for Ken Beach Duty. This was a funnier premise than an execution. Sorry.
As always, we'd like to thank our executive producer and Black Pearl, Jess Vander.
We'd also like to thank our sound engineer and that guy I won on the road trip with me, Alex Contel.
We'd like to thank our programming coordinator and the guy with the tunes in the back seat, Les Jacobs.
And we'd also like to thank our production crew and the people keeping the wheels on the bus. Sorry, Gilbert, Nora Mestrich, Christy Jensen, Amanda Medina, and Amy Waters.
As always, thanks, Elen.
Thanks.
Special thanks. What are we special thanking this week?
The marvel of the universe.
Wonder?
Just amazement?
The feeling of awe at the smallness of your being in the face of the grandness of nature and the scale of the cosmic microwave background.
Exactly.
Now do it in a Werner Herzog voice. Yeah.
Also, the challenge of the large popcorn bucket.
Oh, yeah. What is the challenge? Just to be able to eat it all, or
just like how far can you go?
Too far is the
far. It's like
answer.
always too far. Yeah.
It's like, why am I gassy?
It's like,
you ate a pound of popcorn. Like, that's why you're gassy. But it's just popcorn. I didn't know popcorn it makes you gassy. It makes you gassy when it's covered in fake butter. Thanks, popcorn. Thanks, movies. Thanks, Nighthawk and Alamo and all the other places that serve meals. I'm pro that experience. I know some people don't like it.
No, but
they're
great.
wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Objectively.
They're objectively wrong. Thanks, Carbon Fiber, for making things lighter so we can bring them places with us and make things more comfortable because everything's so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Pretty soon, thanks, graphene nanotubes.
Yeah, thanks, graphene nanotubes.
Well,
okay.
did it. Love you, mean it. Bye.